Ooh.
All right.
Welcome to a live Gangs All Here podcast from the New York Post. This episode of Gangs All Here is presented by Tri-State Cadillac Dealers. Visit your Cadillac showroom today. We are live from the House of Q here at American Dream. Thanks to the good people at American Dream for having us. We're glad to be here. I'm the podfather, Jake Brown, host of Gangs All Here, and sitting in for Brian Costello. Let's welcome in the greatest fullback to ever do it, ended his career with the Jets. Give it up for T-Rich, Tony Richardson. And D'Brickashaw Ferguson got in the Ring of Honor, but this guy did it first. Former Jet receiver for a decade, the pride of Hofstra, Jets legend. Give it up for Wayne Chrebet. We got my producer, Andrew Hart's here with us. Sergio on video. We are live at House of Q following a Jets loss. And guys, I didn't want to have to rant today, but I need to.
But can you tell Sergio to take that Giants hat off?
Yeah, take the Giants hat off.
Thanks so much.
No Giants hat. Throw it to the side.
Yeah, throw that away.
Zach Wilson sucked today. That was a despicable performance by the Jets quarterback, and I'm mad about it because the defense carried this team. They put the Jets on their back, sacking the quarterback. Secondary was good. You know, the run game wasn't terrible. But Zach made some inexcusable throws, T-Rich and Wayne, that made you feel like he regressed today. He was the rookie year Zach Wilson, trying to be a hero, thinking he was Hercules, instead of being the game manager that was 4-0. Instead, he held the ball too long, he threw it away, he tried to throw it away, it ended up in Patriots' hands. That's an unacceptable performance in a game that they should have won. Throw 355 out the window. I don't care how many yards he threw for. That was hard to watch from a Jets quarterback that could have threw that ball away multiple times. We'll talk about the JFM penalty too. But T-Rich, That was a brutal performance from Zach Wilson.
Well, you know, the biggest thing I'm going to say, obviously, you know, turnovers in this league will get you beat. We definitely have to realize is like the Patriots have a really good defense. They have a guy by the name of Bill Belichick who does a great, you know, job of disguising different things and whatever. I do agree that the turnovers were not good turnovers. There's no such thing as a good turnover. But the thing about it, we still have to understand that really this is his 18th game starting. He just came back off of an injury. The Jets are still 5-3. You can't turn the ball over, especially when you have the defense is playing as well as the Zills. But, you know, the biggest thing is you got to learn from that. And whether it's practice tape, game tape, you go back and watch it, and you just can't do those kind of things. And I think the biggest thing is, like, you know, for him, because there's so much, you know, you live in New York City, there's so much negativity surrounded around his play. And I think he's just trying to go out and trying to make plays. They got to get that stuff cleaned up because you can't win in the National Football League turning the ball over.
Wayne, what did you see from Zach?
Yeah, tough day all around. Obviously, how he's been playing, you know, he's 4-0 since he came back, but it definitely took some steps back today. I think he knows that. Everybody knows it, so we don't need to blast him because he's going to hear it all week. But they need to watch the film and look themselves in the mirror and understand what they did right and wrong. Not a lot of right, but he's young. Like I said, he's young, you know, but he's making mistakes he shouldn't be making. But it's just the turnovers. You know, if he throws a couple of those balls into the stands, you know, we're not talking about it right now.
Well, and also you think about you lose AVT, and that obviously, you know, Breece Hall is a big
They
loss.
missed Breece Hall today.
No doubt. But you think about it, losing your running back is one thing, but when you lose your offensive lineman, who literally could be the MVP of the Jets right now, when you lose him, all of a sudden there's no continuity in the offensive line. Things start changing, things get different, and then all of a sudden it's like, and I've been around quarterbacks, when you start hearing footsteps, you get hit one time or the pressure's coming, you know, all of a sudden you start seeing things that really aren't there, and unfortunately he, you know, and I've never been a quarterback or had guys running at me that are a lot bigger than me, stronger than me, and trying to get the ball out of my hands, but definitely those are things that he has to learn from. You know, sometimes it's okay to take the sack, sometimes it's okay to do whatever. You can't throw the ball up like that for, you know, it's pretty much like a punt return, so you can't do those kind of things.
Yeah, the first one, I mean, he overthrew a running back, and what does it lead to? It leads to a Patriots field goal on what could have been a pick six. You know, that's a penalty on JFM. I mean, we could argue maybe it's a ticky-tack call there on the roughing the passer, but he holds back there, and the Jets are up 17-3 at the half. All the momentum's in their favor. I know the Patriots started the second half, but Wayne, I mean, that JFM's done that twice. He did that against the Bengals.
Yeah.
He did that against Houston last year where it cost them, and now he does it today. There's no excuse for him. He's not a rookie. He's not a young player. He's been in this league. He got a big money contract extension last year. there's got to be some some discipline there with John Franklin Myers.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was a bad call. I was on the field for D'Brickashaw's, induction. So I saw they scored. I didn't see the replay till later, and I was like, basically they said they gave him a penalty for hitting him too hard. I mean, maybe it was a little late.
Was Pee Wee?
He didn't land on him.
Yeah.
I mean, and I said, why do people tune in? The touchdowns, the big hits, and that's what people. I said, how long could we have played? If they,
I'd still be playing right now.
Yeah, we could be playing right now if they weren't allowed to hit you like that.
Yeah, I mean, that reasoning is absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah.
But, he holds back, and the other Michael Carter, has a second pick and a pick six, and I felt all the momentum change there, guys, because then what do the Patriots do out of the half? They score a touchdown. It's 13-10. Then a missed field goal. I mean, you want to talk about, let's tie this thing up.
We talked
that
about
changes
that, yeah.
a missed field goal.
Yep.
Then it's 16-10. Patriots get another field goal. Another field goal is 19-10. And then Zach, another what is he doing interception, where you could argue that the defender's knee was out there. I know they reviewed that, and it was upheld. But there's a sequence of events that's your ball game right there,
well,
T-Rich.
Wayne and I were actually talking about this a little bit ago. It's like that missed field goal is a backbreaker because a lot of times I think a lot of people don't understand when you miss a field goal, the ball doesn't go from the line of scrimmage. It goes from where you missed the field goal. And you talk about, and one thing Coach Emil obviously now is in the Hall of Fame. One thing we would do on every Wednesday, we would go through the turnover ratio in the league and the percentages, and we'd also go over field position. If you lose those two things, field position and the turnover ratio, the percentages go down. So when you miss a field goal like that, one is the momentum because you were able to go and get some points on the board, kick the ball off and pin them back. You miss that, all of a sudden it goes to the point to where you kick the ball from, and all of a sudden then they go down and score. So those kind of momentum swings actually hurt you a lot. And then the turnovers. I mean, you cannot turn the football over in this National Football League unless you're playing with one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL that can overcome those kind of things. And a lot of guys don't have those type of quarterbacks. There's only maybe one or two elite quarterbacks in the National Football League that overcomes those type of things. But when you have a young team that's continuing to try to build week in and week out, you can't turn the football over. You can't. I mean, every time you can put points on the board, you have to be able to put points on the board.
The problem with it is it's so deflating to an offense to drive it all the way down there and to come away with nothing. And the defense is, they don't get a chance to break. And it's like, they get off the bench like, man, they did all that, didn't get any points, we're back in the same spot. So, yeah, I mean, it's not just field position as much. It's just a bad feeling overall. The whole morale goes down.
And a lot of people left the building. I mean, when this got to 22-10, you saw a lot of people hit the exits. And you got to give Jets fans credit. They showed up today. This place was absolutely packed. They, most of them got there pretty early. Hart, see if you can pull up the exact attendance number. But I'm pretty sure this was a complete sellout. Obviously, it's some, but everyone was there. It was the biggest. And for a large part of the game, the loudest crowd in a long time.
Well, it's funny enough. So I was actually in Minnesota last night. My buddy Jared Allen, who I played with in Kansas City, had him as a rookie, which he's a different guy from Kansas City to Minnesota. But I didn't fly back in until this morning. As soon as I'd landed, I had to go to my house to pick up my car. But I started listening to the radio, and even at like 9, 10 o'clock, I heard the stadium was packed. So it took me, I don't even know how, it took me from Long Island City, knowing it's a 20, 30-minute ride. It took me almost an hour and something to get into
all
the
break,
stadium.
no gas.
Yeah, for sure. And then even when I finally parked the car, and just to get into the stadium, this is probably the loudest I've heard it. There was still very disappointed. There was a lot of Patriots fans in there. I'm like, I just don't understand how Patriots fans get that many tickets in our own stadium, but that's a whole different scenario.
Well, they might have got them before the Jets were 5-2.
Well, that's true, too. But Jet fans showed up today, so we definitely got to give a shout-out to our Jets fans for coming. And they're going to be there next week, too, because obviously we got a tough opponent. We don't want to go there that fast, but we do definitely have to turn the page. We got Buffalo coming in here, and they can care less. They play tonight, and it's going to be an electric crowd next week as well. And that game still potentially can get flexed because at the end of the day, everyone's upset, everyone's pissed off, mad or whatever.
Well, because
the Jets are still 5-3. The Jets are still 5-3.
The Jets should have been 6-2 today, going to Buffalo, and then you forward losing to Buffalo.
No, not going into Buffalo. Buffalo's coming here.
Going against Buffalo, them
exactly.
coming here. Although they're going to have a lot of Bills fans. I mean, Wayne, that's a 6-2 team potentially.
Right.
That's why this one stings me extra hard today, like a bee.
It does sting, and like Tony said, the crowd was loud. I mean, I was in a box. And we just had like the window open, but just in there, I mean, it was so loud. They were so ready to see a win today, and they hung in there. And, the whole time the offense had the ball for New England, the crowd was into it. And then it just, like I said, deflated in the second half, and then it got quiet. But they were out there. They came out strong today.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And the weather was perfect. It was setting up for a beautiful day, and it still was a nice day. And, we'll give it up for D'Brickashaw Ferguson,
for sure.
A guy that you played with entering the Ring of Honor. And what was incredible about Brick, and we'll talk a little bit about it, but, he never missed a game.
Oh,
and, he missed
one play.
And here's why. And here's why I want to talk about that. He missed one play on a trick play.
Yeah, no doubt.
Something that the Jets did not do today. And we got to hate on Mike LaFleur a little bit because I thought his play calling was atrocious. And why is Chris Streveler active if there was nothing built for him? Like, when we heard he was active, I thought there was going to be some kind of trickery built in. I don't think the Jets ran one trick play today.
Well, interesting enough. So that's one thing I like to do before I start getting into the overreaction. I listened to Salah's press conference. So as I was leaving the stadium, I was listening to his press conference. And so he pretty much said, the reason why they did the quarterbacks like that and why Flacco wasn't dressed is like, you know what? If Zach gets hurt, Mike White is the guy. And they also had some stuff in there, and he said, you know what, it just didn't materialize, and we didn't get a chance to do that. But it's interesting because I was like, oh, Flacco's not dressed today, but I think they pretty much made the decision that if Zach gets hurt, that Mike White is the next guy, and then I guess you're going to try to, use Straggler for some plays. But I would have never known that because, Wayne and I are both in the same way. When we were at the game, like, we do get a chance to watch the game, but there's so much stuff going on that we don't get a chance to hear a lot of it. So for me to sit in the car and listen to the press conference, that kind of gave me a little bit of clarity why they did that.
Wayne, do you think the conservative play calling today?
A little bit. I mean, he didn't have much time to do anything. I like to maybe see a little more crossing routes, a little more high percentage throws. We don't do a lot of that, but it gets done to us a lot.
Yeah.
But I almost wish they were on the road this week coming up. Because this – with Zach, it's going to be tough because they're going to be screaming for, a quarterback debate. You know what I mean? To put someone else in there. But, hey, they got to get back on their horse this week. They got a big game. But they're underdogs, and I think they play the underdog role well. So hopefully they win.
And once again, Vegas got it right, by the way. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm like, how are the Jets underdogs?
Well, listen, you got to imagine that we've all been to Vegas. We've probably been there sometimes, but we don't remember a lot about Vegas. But there's a reason why there's all those tall buildings and those casinos. They do something right. I'm like, because I was the same way. I'm like, how in the world are we underdogs? I'm a homer, Jets. How are we underdogs? But for whatever reason, they figure out a way they get this thing almost down to almost a point spread and everything else. And I'm like, and I know for a fact, because people who gamble like, hey, T-Rich, have you ever been approached by something? Like, not one time, not one game I've ever played in where I felt that one of my teammates, I didn't even know what a point spread was when I played.
I think it was different when you played. Now FanDuel, all this is everywhere. That.
But to answer your question as far as the play calling, I think the biggest thing is you call the plays based on your personnel. And right now, the Jets are a running football team. And you can win a lot of football games like that. Run the football, play great defense, don't turn the ball over. If you can do that, and not saying you want to make Zach a game manager, but also you still have to understand, this kid is in his second year. This is his, since he's been injured, he came in 4-0. This is his fifth game since he came off a knee injury. So I don't believe that you got to put the handcuffs on him, but I also believe, do the things you do well, and the running game is going pretty well. The biggest thing you got to try to do is eliminate the turnovers. You eliminate the turnovers, the Jets win the ball game today, hands down. But that's why I'm sitting over here with Wayne and not coaching. but that's what I really believe.
And it doesn't exactly help when Elijah Moore is saying what he's saying. And now after the game, he said, "I don't get the ball. I don't know." On his chemistry with Zach Wilson. Wayne, you're a former receiver.
Right.
What do you think about Elijah Moore?
I think the best way to not get the ball is to do what he's doing. Now listen, I'm not in the room with him with these conversations with the receiver coach, with the head coach. So I don't know completely what's going on, but it doesn't look good when you're riding a winning streak and you come out and say what you did. My opinion is that he got some bad advice from someone in his camp, trying to force a trade or whatnot. I don't think he came up with that on his own. I don't know the guy, but hopefully, he can get back in there and do the job and have that be forgotten.
And let me say this, and I know Wayne does it. He's obviously a very humble guy, and every time I get a chance to give Wayne his flowers, I do. Like, Wayne Chrebet would never, ever, ever, ever do that, because I know when you have guys like, if you have 53 Wayne Chrebets on your teams, you're going to win a lot of damn football games. And the thing about it is, for me, it kind of upset me a little bit because it's like, dude, if you get the ball 10 times, great. If you get it 1 time, great. You do your job and things happen. And that's the thing that, I always say, if you open the dictionary, you look up for the epitome of what a New York Jet, you're going to see Wayne Chrebet, because he's going to go out there and give you every last single ounce of energy that he has. And he's never going to go to the coach like, oh, I was open on that. No, you know what? Progressions, things happen and whatever. So to make comments like that after a game,
it's tough.
I don't know this guy. Like Wayne said, if we're not in those meetings, we don't know what's going on. But there's no reason to do that. Air your stuff out with the coaches. Air it out in the locker room. Don't do that in the media, because that's so. And I know for a fact Wayne wouldn't do that. We had a receiver. We did throw me the damn ball. We had a guy who did that. You can't win football games like that when you got a young team and you got a guy here talking about, give me the ball, I'm open. Everybody, I'm open right now too, but I don't want the damn ball.
Well, the squad we had though was when we did our best. I mean, Curtis, we never asked. It was me, Lavernia, Santana. Yeah. We were happy when our teammates were doing well, and it was almost like, can you top this? Or when it's your turn, everybody will have their turn, but. Like I said, I don't want to badmouth the kid because he doesn't know any better.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's just it's
I'm
bad
not going to
form.
badmouth him. It's not a good look.
It's bad. It's bad, man.
I'm a fullback. So for me, as a fullback, and granted I had a chance to touch the ball as a tailback, what the heck would I be like, oh, I'm a fullback. You know what? I need Priest Holmes getting 30 carries. I need 10 of those. Well, I look like an idiot. There's no way I'm going to do that, because my job was to go block, and the dirtier my face mask got, the more blood I had on my mouthpiece, the less I got the ball, the better our team did. And that's the type of mentality that Wayne Chrebet has, the same mentality I have, and that's how you win football games, because it's not about, and I'm going to tell you, George Brett, Baseball Hall of Famer, was my neighbor in Kansas City. He said, when you start caring about the name on the front of the jersey, more about the name on the back, you're going to win a lot of football games, a lot of baseball games. And I took that mentality, and I took that at heart. And to me, you've never heard me in the media like, man, you know what? Sanchez, I was open in the flat. I probably wasn't open.
Is the receiver you're talking about Keyshawn you were talking about before?
I'm not talking about
Braylon Edwards?
No, I'm not. No.
Who was the one you were just talking about before?
Well, we know who wrote a book that said, throw me the damn ball. Who did that? Who was that? Yeah, there was a book. Yeah,
was it Keyshawn?
Yeah, that was about a guy by the name of Keyshawn. Yeah. But I'm not calling him out because he wanted the ball. He probably needed the ball. But I'm just saying, for me personally, I just want guys just to show up and go to work.
Yeah, and I feel like that makes things awkward in the locker room. Like when you're around the guy, you try to keep it civil, but how are you going to do that? I mean, it's hard, right?
It's just the timing of it. Yeah. When you're 4-2, you don't do that. When you're 0-5, like, hey, give me a chance. I can help turn this thing around with the team.
But there's a way to do it.
And, but this, you do it in private. You don't put your business out on the street like that. Because now what's the alternative? You start throwing to him, it looks like he won. If you don't, exactly. It looks like you're not throwing to him because he said that. There's no win-win there.
Yeah, and 0 targets on the day for Elijah Moore. Or 1 target, excuse me. That's about it. He was way down to the box score. I had to really scroll down to find that. And, even Denzel Mims had 2 for 76 today. It was the Garrett Wilson show, 6 for 115. It is unbelievable that Zach threw for 355 because he was just terrible.
I didn't even know that.
20 for 41 for 355. They only ran it 15 times. And, again, I thought LaFleur, and it was a very Brian Schottenheimer call on 3rd and 18 running a draw. I mean, they're showing no faith here in Zach, and it's hard to.
So now I got to get back to the football X's and O's. You realize if it's 3rd and 18, they're playing the pass. So we made a lot of bones. When I was in Kansas City, and 3rd and 18, there's not a lot of plays that's on your play script for 3rd and 18, but a draw is actually a good play in 3rd and 18 because guess what? They're dropping off. They're playing the pass, and if your running back can make a couple guys miss, especially if they're playing cover 2, you can get that first down. So I've been in games like that where that's happened. So if you're trying to launch back and throw the ball, they're going to pick it off, and that definitely doesn't work well. So sometimes you just got to take your losses. 3rd and 18. We didn't have a lot of plays for 3rd and 18 because you don't want to be in that down because that's a very bad.
It was screen though.
Teams don't throw screens anymore. That screen.
They didn't do any screens today.
What
happened to screen?
I don't even see the screen game.
Wide receiver screen, tight end screen. Conklin had a good day.
You talk about LaFleur and the play calling. When you're 3rd and 18, like you just said, that limits your playbook. Like when you're got manageable 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, whatever it is, the playbook's open. You can run a majority of your plays, but. Like you said, maybe LaFleur, just the situations, just doesn't call for opening up the playbook. So you can't blame him there,
Yeah, I mean, I was more, end of the 3rd, into the 4th quarter, running the ball the first few downs, not going no huddle. Even the Patriots, when they were up in this game, they went no huddle a few times. The Jets, there was just no sense of urgency.
Yeah, with 10 minutes to go, I don't know why we're huddling up. That's the biggest probably question I have with the coaching today was why we weren't in hurry up or earlier in the game, no huddle. Because when they did that to us, that's when they started moving the ball.
For sure.
We couldn't get our new linemen back in fresh. So that was one thing that I was curious about.
Yeah, 10.5 minutes left. I mean, short run, eating up so much clock. I thought the Jets got out-coached today by a better coach, obviously, in Bill Belichick. And 13 straight, lucky number 13, 13 straight losses to the goddamn Patriots. The Patriots are the Jets' daddy. Am I right?
Listen, I ain't going there. You're not finna get me. You're not finna get me on that clickbait media. So I am not going there. But yeah, we would definitely like not to have lost this game today. But yeah, you're not getting me on the clickbait.
This was supposed to be the game.
Yeah,
Rich.
it was supposed to be
the
a
blackout.
game.
Now this is the Jets' funeral.
I know. I mean, listen, everything was the stage was set today. The energy. I'm telling you, the energy. That's one thing I got to give a shout out to the fans. The fans showed up today. The energy was there. The team played. They came out playing hard. And I think sometimes it's like. And you think about it, and sometimes, I mean, I've never played the quarterback position, but I think sometimes after that first pick, you start thinking like, man, I got to pick my play up, and you want to try to create a play. And sometimes it's just like, you know what, let the game come to you instead of trying to take the game over. So, I'm not in Zach's head. So hopefully now the good thing about it, it's a learning opportunity. Unfortunately, it's a learning opportunity at the expense of a loss. But you know what? Go back in, study the tape. Hopefully look at the tape tonight. And look at the tape tomorrow, and then obviously Wednesday, you got to move on. Now it's time to get ready for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and the Bills will play the Packers.
I can't wait to see that. Yeah.
Miami with a big win against Detroit. They're 5-3 now. The Patriots are a game back. And
so what is it? So it's the division is Bills first?
Bills are 5-1, probably 6-1 if they beat Green Bay.
Yep.
If they lose, next week becomes a battle for first place. Yeah. Which would be nice. Although the way Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay is playing, I'm not confident Green Bay is going to win that game.
So everything's still on the table, which is good.
Yeah.
At this point, and that's the thing about it. And I have a chance to listen to a lot of these, spaces and different things like that. Who would have thought at the turn that we would be in contention for first or second place in the East? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, and I know it's easy because one thing about it, Jimmy Ray was my running back coach. When I was here with the Jets, and obviously he was my running back coach in Kansas City. The easiest position to critique every single day, every single game is the quarterback position, and it's glaring. But at the end of the day, it's like this team is playing hard. They have a lot of intangibles. They got a lot of pieces. I mean, we can't even – let's focus on the positive. Sauce Gardner is that guy. Like, let's talk about those kind of things. Our pass rush, where everyone was saying that we didn't have a pass rush, they got after the quarterback today. So there was a lot of things that you can build on. And there's things you can correct, you know what I mean? Special teams didn't play as well as I think they could have played, but they definitely played pretty well. But the thing about it, if you clean those turnovers over and clean them up, we're in the ball game today. You look at what scored 22-17?
Yeah.
With 3 turnovers. That's tough.
That's what makes it more frustrating. And I thought special teams was actually terrible today. I thought there were some bad punts.
So you're going to say that. You're trying to get me to say the clickbait. I'm not falling for your clickbait.
All right, well, I'm just going to
let you know.
I'm just saying it is. Special teams was trash today.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that. So you're trying to get me.
There was a terrible punt.
Yeah.
They gave up a long punt return. Greg Zerline missed a field goal. They tried to run it out of the end zone on a couple of kick returns, and Berrios got it to the 15.
T. Rich did not say that.
Sucked today.
Here you go.
They were really bad, and
hey, you don't pay me enough to come on this show to get clickbait.
That's true.
No, I don't need that.
We got that the last 2 weeks on the Giants podcast.
Wayne and I both work for the Jets.
Yeah, I know. We had David Tyree take a dump on Dan Gettleman last week. Elijah Moore played just 10 snaps today, by the way, so that was a big reason for he wasn't out there. And Salah said he just wanted Garrett Wilson out there more. So
as you should.
I think that's a statement to Elijah's got to stop talking his ish.
Yeah.
And Tuesday's the trade deadline. Do you go out now after a loss? I'll start with you, Wayne. Do you go trade for a Conklin and get that left tackle? Do you go out and trade for another receiver? Do you make a move here, Joe D, and try to go all in for the playoffs?
No, you can't call him Joe D. Trader Joe.
Trader Joe.
Trader Joe.
I don't know. I don't know what's available, what's out there. I mean, I'm happy that they could win with what they have. All I can say is this. Listen, it's a very...
Let's go get Tunzel. Let's go.
Yeah. It's a sour feeling.
Yeah, it's going to cost all of us.
Yeah, we're all sour.
Everybody.
Yeah, we're all sour right now.
Yeah.
It's tough.
No, you can't do it.
We're sour today. Everybody's sour. And it's a bad feeling we got in our mouth going home. until the next game. But if in training camp or after the first games we're Baltimore, we said we'd be 5-3. People
You'll
would
take
sign
it.
up. We'll take it. It's just how it happened today. But we are 5-3 still, Jets fans. So we're if we can win half our games, we got a chance to make the playoffs.
Definitely.
That's all that matters.
What's crazy is that an onside kick would have made it Cleveland part 2. If they pulled that off in the end there, they were still in this game. And Zach's got to be better next week, and he's got to do it against a tough Bills team. Gangs All Here podcast, Jake Brown, Tony Richardson, Wayne Chrebet, D'Brickashaw Ferguson. What did he mean as a player and a teammate for you guys, and how proud are you him getting the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, to me, Brick was the epitome. It's funny. It's interesting because, like, you know, you look at different guys, and you're like, okay, here's this guy, D'Brickashaw Ferguson, that literally could stand straight up and untie his shoes. Like, he was built to be an offensive lineman, but just to think about the adversity in which he had to go through, having open heart surgery as a kid, being able to, you know, build his body back up, you know, obviously be a first-round draft choice, miss one play his entire career, and Brick was just tough as nails. And so, you know, you look at the organization, you say, man, you cornerstones of your team. If you can get a left tackle that played with the consistency, and the thing about it, which is a loyalty, and I think one thing Jet fans need to, you know, really, you know, salute this man. Like, there was opportunities. He could have maybe gone and maybe played another 5 years, maybe for a lesser number, but still could possibly have played. And he was like, I'm a Jet. I always wanted to be a Jet. I'm here. I'm from here. There's a D'Brickashaw Ferguson way. I've actually passed it up in Long Island. So I think his family's actually incredible. I met his parents. I know his kids. Incredible guys. So I'm so happy for Brick, and it was well-deserved.
Was there a guy like Brick on your teams? Was it Kevin Mawai?
Yeah, Mawai was a little, you know, feisty out there. Brick is a, you know, true gentleman on and off the field. Kevin, though, he'd get after you a little bit. I don't think the defensive lineman liked him very much.
No one did.
But, you know, Brick is well respected around the league and in the Jets complex. So, you know, couldn't happen to a better guy getting in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing. Who's next? We got Darrell Revis on the 27th. Another guy you played with.
Yeah, Revis was my roommate in training camp, so I always call him roommate.
Give me a Revis story.
You know, there was everyone asked me for a Revis story. Revis was the guy that literally, I got a good Revis story for you, and Wayne will appreciate this. So, you know, Revis was my roommate in training camp. And so there'd be some times where it's like, you know, A, B, or C motion, and the fullback has to motion out the line of scrimmage. So I had to motion out, and it's like, Revis was over me. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm about to get him. So I'm like trying to get off the line. He hit me, boom, right on my shoulder. I was like, Revis, if you ever hit me this damn hard again, dude, he almost broke my shoulder. But the thing about it was like, first of all, I'm not used to getting off the line of scrimmage against press corners. Dude, he hit me in my shoulder so hard. But the thing about Revis was he was a student of the game. Like, he studied tape. I mean, Ty Law is obviously a good friend of his. They came from Aliquippa together. But he was never out of position. Revis wasn't a guy that's going to go run a 4-2, but you weren't going to beat him. You know what I mean? He one of the strongest guys I've been around, one of the smartest guys I've been around. He kept a booklet on every last single receiver, and you know, and there's a reason why I think he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So hopefully this is, you know, a first ballot Hall of Fame on top of the Ring of Honor. So Revis is a guy that, and he didn't talk much. I mean, he was quiet and he just went about his business. And you know, it's amazing when you look at the organization and how some of these drafts have really, you know, played out. When you look at it, like if you can draft Hall of Famers, that means you did something pretty damn good.
The way Sauce Gardner's playing, he could be a Hall of Famer one day. And that defense is, again, why it's discouraging. 6 sacks. They did everything right, essentially.
Well,
we're on the field too long because of all the turnovers.
Well, you know the thing about it, when you have a guy like Sauce Gardner, it gives you the ability to do so much. And I've played with a few guys like that. When I was in Minnesota, we had Antoine Winfield. When I was in Kansas City, we had Del Carter, obviously James Hasty. But when you have a guy like Revis, you could call the game. Like, we would go into meetings. This is funny. Rex would just say, hey, okay, guys, this is what we're going to do. Revis, you got this guy. Let's break. And that's all he would say. He would just tell, you know what, Revis, you got this guy. And Revis took that guy the whole game. And then we'll coach the defense the rest of this. There's no reason for all of us to sit in here. When you have special guys like that, I think Sauce Gardner is one of those guys that, I mean, this kid is just like, he's way above his maturity level, having a rookie to be able to go out week in and week out against some of the best receivers and just shut them down and you know, just the swag he plays with. And it's not like overconfidence. It's just he believes in his abilities, long arms, fast. He reminds me a little bit of Del Carter, being that length and those long arms and also being able to run. So, yeah, I think the future of the Jets is bright, but we can't move on until we get past this game and we're going to Buffalo. Buffalo's coming in here, and we got to get that smack down.
Wayne, what do you think? Playoffs? Can this team still make the playoffs? 5-3 right now.
Yeah, why not? We're in a good situation right now. We certainly don't have an easy schedule, but listen, I think we could play with any team. Buffalo's going to be tough. I'm not sure what to expect, but like we put ourselves in a good situation. One game and then the bye to kind of recoup. Hopefully, get some guys back healthy. So yeah, why can't we make the playoffs? I mean, you look at the schedule. You tell me they can't win majority of their games or at least half their games. I don't see why not.
We can play the schedule game. Let's close. 5-3. They lose to Buffalo. 5-4.
Hold on. What are you doing?
I'm just gonna say they're gonna lose to Buffalo.
Listen, I'm so glad you like clickbait. What do you mean? How you automatically? Because you never know what's gonna happen.
New England just lost to the Bears. They got smacked.
Okay, but listen. One thing about it,
they did not look good today.
Hold on.
The Jets just looked bad.
So check this out. So Buffalo still has a game to play tonight. I don't ever want to wish injuries. You never know how that game's going to happen.
It's true.
So,
if Josh Allen gets hurt, we can win. Yeah.
I mean, listen. It's like
the only player that gets hurt will win.
All right. See, you like the clickbait.
No, we'll be in the game next week.
We're going to be in every game.
Yeah.
So think about it. All right. So I'm not finna count that a loss. Okay, keep going. Who we got?
I'm just gonna say for now, let's say loss. Let's say they get revenge.
Hypothetically speaking.
Let's say they get revenge and beat New England 6-4. Let's say they beat the Bears 7-4. They'll lose in Minnesota 7-5.
How they lose in Minnesota?
Let's just say they do. Minnesota's good this year.
Because someone pulled his mic.
Let's say they lose to the Bills at 7-6. Let's say they beat the Lions at 8-6.
Yeah.
Beat the Jaguars 9-6.
Yep.
Let's say they beat Seattle 10-6 and lose to Miami 10-7. All right, you'll sign up for that.
Did we beat Miami already?
Yes, but you're not going to beat Seattle and Miami. So I'll take 10-7.
Why not?
I'll take 10-7.
I don't know why not.
What's your fandom? Who you root for? Who's your
I'm a
team?
Jets fan, but I got to be realistic.
What do you mean? How you a Jets fan? You already called.
I already gave them more wins than they're probably going to get. If they go 10-7.
No, 5-3 was more wins than you gave. You probably thought we were 0-8 by now.
I said 7-10 before the season.
You
said
yeah.
4-13.
What'd you think the first 8 games? Would you have it? 0-8 or was
Probably
1-7?
2-6 or 3-5.
So don't take it. I'm not taking.
This one just left a sour feeling in my mouth.
So we would be 1-7 right now based on your
This
prediction.
was a crappy New England team, a crappy bunch.
You think Vegas is so smart? Vegas
Someone
is so
turn
smart.
his mic off. Please turn the mic off.
The over/under was 4.5 wins in Vegas. So that's how much
I
I know.
know, but damn it, this one hurt today. This brought me down. Yeah. Well, Jets-Bills next week.
Oh my gosh.
Big game. I'll be there next week. But for now, this is the final live pod. So I got to give it up for Wayne Chrebet, everybody. Woo! Chrebet. Huge crowd. Give it up for Tony Richardson.
Yeah,
T. Rich.
yeah. I'm the one that kept it real today, but we're going to take your mic. We're going to unplug your microphone.
No, it's my
I keep
show.
being a Jets fan. Yeah,
my mic's always on.
I know, right?
Mic's on. He's ready to go. I'm Jake Brown. Thanks to Andrew Hartz. Thanks to Sergio. Thanks to House of Q. Thanks to your Tri-State Cadillac dealers. Visit your Cadillac showroom today. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. New York Post. Gang's all here. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts. We'll talk to you on Thursday. I'll be back with Kaz. Peace.
Cut him off.